Ew, 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 ow, 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 ow! Hi, everybody. Turns out fading back into existence hurts a great deal. But you know what else is a great deal? Today's sponsor, Factor. Factor sends healthy, chef-prepared, ready-made meal kits right to your home. And you don't even have to be a likable person for them to do it, too. Like, even if you suck, they'll still send you the food. That's pretty crazy and really lucky for me. You can cook them in the microwave, but I like cooking them in the oven because it's big. Avoid the hassle of extensive, stressful food prepping by taking the guesswork out of all of your meals. Even if you're one of those invalids on a weird diet like keto, vegan, vegetarian, or low calorie. Now let me tell you something, the convenience of these meal kits, out of this world. The very notion would be enough to make my eyes water with joy, had I not tragically lost my tear ducts in a dangerous wager with a cunning highwayman all those years ago. Factor meals arrive pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes or less, even faster than getting takeout. Unless, of course, Dulthramax the Time Elemental happens to be the one delivering your food. Here's us in college, you know, before the allegations. I've distanced myself from him since the allegations came in. I haven't talked to him since then. But yeah, we did know each other. He was fighting many inner demons, only matched in number by the sheer variety of meal kits in Factor's rotating weekly menu of 34 plus meal options and over 36 add-ons. It's also a good meal kit for gamers like me. Boop, 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 beep, boop. Look at me, I'm playing Halo 8. You. It's a good meal kit for gamers, especially right now. You know as well as I do, you're not putting the time into making good food for you when all of this stuff is out. No way, no chance in hell, dude. So what are you waiting for? Use my link or go to go.factor75.com and use code POGRAYGUNOCT50 for 50% off your first box. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone, that little devil machine, that little rectangle that ruins your attention span and makes you sad. That thing. Thanks to Factor again for sponsoring. Today is gonna be a doozy. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on YouTube for a very long time now. So long, in fact, that I can vividly remember a time where YouTubers had animated intros of them chloroforming cartoon women, and nobody in the editing room went, "You sure? Hey, bud, what are you trying to say here? What's going on here with this?" So when I tell you that today's story is probably the most out-of-pocket shit I've ever seen on the platform, I really need you to understand the weight behind that. I'm not joshing with you. I'm sure you've probably already heard some of this from other talking heads on YouTube, so I'm going to recap just really quick. Sssniperwolf is a hugely successful creator here on YouTube with 34 million subscribers, who used to do epic gameplay videos back in the day, before transitioning into what she does now. Stealing everybody's content, not crediting it, and lazily reacting to it.
She played the entire TikTok without a video of her even on it. She was not there.
I'm not a fan of reaction content, obviously, but even if I was, I would still feel like this is pretty fucking egregious. This behavior obviously drew a lot of criticism from the community, including from friend of the show, Jax Films, who took it upon himself to make a Sniperwolf parody account to satirize and draw attention to the content theft and help those whose content Sniperwolf had appropriated to get compensated for their stolen work. Which, by the way, he's been successfully doing, so good on him. And that's basically the long and short of it, up to a certain point. So let's do a thought experiment for just a moment. Let's put you, the viewer, in the shoes of Sniperwolf for just a minute. You are stealing content from dozens, if not hundreds of creators and making a pretty penny off it on a daily basis. You then notice that another YouTube creator with a fraction of your audience is kind of joking about it a little bit. He's made a parody account based on you and is criticizing you by mimicking your upload style, your thumbnails, etc. Now, there's a number of responses that you, as Sniperwolf, could have. Do you A, ignore it because you're intensely rich and will continue to be, so who fucking cares? Do you B, message him to hopefully resolve the issue between you two? Do you C, accept the criticism and improve your behavior? Or do you D, dox him by showing up to his house unannounced at sundown and sharing a picture of his house with your millions of followers on Instagram, a sizable enough percentage of which might be unhinged enough to act irresponsibly with that information? This is a hard one, so take your time. What's really wild about this, truthfully, is that this has been an unwritten code of YouTube ethics for a long time now. No matter how out of pocket certain periods of YouTube got, people eating hair cakes, making mean-spirited jokes, even if you were stealing other people's content, unabashedly, you just didn't share people's home addresses or the home addresses of their families with millions of strangers as a retaliatory tactic. Even the most controversial, misbehaved figures from back in the day didn't stoop that low. It really is like revenge porn level of out of pocket. Geez, Chris, does it get worse somehow? Yes, it do. Now, something we have to really understand about this situation before we delve any deeper is that Sssniperwolf is very big on YouTube, and she's very big to YouTube as well. She's even been directly shouted out by YouTube on a few separate occasions mega recently. So when she literally doxes a person and YouTube does nothing about it, it comes across as them ignoring it, which they absolutely are. It's especially insane when you consider how they've treated other content creators in similar situations. I don't remember how long ago this was, but it feels like 10 years ago, so I'm gonna say 10 years ago when Quantum TV straight up doxed the Actman and his family. YouTube didn't do anything either, but ended up demonetizing Actman's entire channel over a tweet about him joking about doxing.
The tweets I made were satirical. They were clearly satirical, meant to be a joke about a situation. Like, there's no debate. I made it painfully obvious for you and everyone so that something like this wouldn't happen.
So joking about doxing is enough to get your channel demonetized for a while. It took a shockingly long time for them to reverse course on that decision. So joking about doxing gets you mega punished. But actually doxing begets no punishment at all. That seems a bit ridiculous. Now, in regards to the Sssniperwolf situation, YouTube was completely silent on this for an entire full week. Like, a full week went by before they came out with this statement, which has to be one of the most "you had me in the first half" statements I've ever seen. Confirming Sssniperwolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creator responsibility policies. Temporary. A nice little slap on the wrist. Oh no, you're not gonna make money today. Maybe tomorrow, sure, but today's really what matters. At least it's something, though. Temporary is better than no punishment at all, so, whatever, fine. Let's see what else they have to say. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk or harm our community, and the behavior on both sides is not what we want on YouTube. They actually tried to both sides this shit. Yeah, we understand that she stalked you and shared your personal home with millions of strangers on Instagram. But in fairness, Mr. Films, weren't you also being a bit of a tattletale? What's funny about this really is that their actions betray their feelings on the matter too, because if YouTube truly believed that they were both in the wrong, then why is Sssniperwolf the one getting the temporary monetization ban while Jack is fine? They know what she did was fucked up, but they've endorsed her before, and they've endorsed her super recently, and I think they just don't want to deal with that. Look, ultimately, this situation's just really fucked up. Granted, I also know Jack. We've hung out, and we've literally just had him on the podcast just a day or two before this whole thing went down. But even though I know Jack and his hilarious wife, Erin, personally, I don't think it's my bias talking when I say that, doxing is one of the lowest things you can do as a public figure, and if there's anything on the platform that warrants a deplatform, doxing is at least in the top 3 things. People have downright scary and concerning parasocial relationships with public figures these days, especially YouTubers, especially content creators. Even if we're being generous and saying that only 0.5% of Sssniperwolf's 5 million Instagram followers were unhinged enough to act irresponsibly with that information that she gave to her followers, that's still 50,000 strangers who know where you live and have a strange personal parasocial vendetta against you. At the very least, that's really unsettling. But don't worry, Jack, because Sssniperwolf has publicly apologized, and that makes everything better. Let me start by saying, I'm sorry for my recent actions. It's inexcusable. Took her a week, by the way, to address this. Instead of understanding immediately that that's something that you just don't do, it took her a week to really marinate on this, to be like, maybe I shouldn't have done this insane fucking thing. I'm sorry to Jack's Film. I see she hired the famous writer of the Lord of Ring Gollum apology post, so that's cool. I'm sorry to Jack's Film. YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. I'd also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I deserve it. Respect the decision and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. A severe and continuous lapse in judgment, I'm sure. Also, by the way, that temporary demonetization on Sniperwolf's channel, that whole, like, I deserve to be held accountable, rendered completely moot because she's just re-uploading those demonetized videos to a secondary monetized channel to circumvent the punishment. So, you love to see it. Look, I really just wanted to sit and talk about this for a little bit because despite my edgy sense of humor and my irreverent demeanor, I really do think creator safety is incredibly important. We live in this weird middle ground as YouTubers or content creators where we're technically famous and well-known, but we're also, like, not separated from society like rich celebrities are, you know what I mean? It's okay for you to know where, like, Brad Pitt lives, because Brad Pitt lives in a massive house with, like, a full security detail probably, surrounded by other equally famous people in a gated community, relatively safe from random stalkers and psychos in the midst of their audience. But YouTubers are different, you know, like, you'll recognize us on the street, but, you know, we'll walk into the building across the street from you because that's where we live. And like I said before, dude, the idea of 50,000 strangers knowing exactly where I live and, like, having a personal gripe with me despite not knowing me personally at all, that's really, I don't know, man, that's uncomfortable, man. Everybody deserves the basic peace of mind of being able to go home and feel safe. And that feeling extends to people that I would personally consider morally dubious. And I also don't like this idea that this 30-year-old woman who's been a content creator for a very long time just somehow didn't know that doxing was too much. I knew that was something that you absolutely didn't do in my early 20s when I had a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of Sniperwolf's audience. So I'm not buying this whole, like, it was a lapse in my judgment. It wasn't a lapse in judgment. How insane do you have to be for that to be a lapse in judgment in the first place? Look, it's time we stopped handling these creators with kids' gloves, because this is just a really irresponsible use of an audience, and I personally think, you know, Sniperwolf can go away. Anyway, that's really it. I know this is a little bit short, but I kind of wanted to just talk about this because it's just, I don't know. I feel like maybe some of you might disagree with me. Maybe some of you are on the staunch, like, hey, no deplatforming for no reason. Maybe some of you feel more similar to me where it's like, yeah, there's a pretty long leash for deplatforming, but this might just be a little bit too far, personally, maybe. So I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments, so be sure to go down there. I'm going to be reading them. And that'll be it. I'll see you soon with a video about a video game. I love you. Be careful, be good, and behave. Take care. Clap sync, 1, 2, 3. I'm growing my hair like in Spider-Man 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 7. I'd rather die in a 7-Eleven. That's probably fine. That's good. I would not rather die in a 7-Eleven. Is that my subconscious talking? Why would I want that? Man, I really got to get this fucking hair thing situated, huh? It's getting rough out here.